Living La Vida Loca.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. I'm Scott Carson, your host, and actually filming live straight from the Atlantis Resort here in the Bahamas today. We never know who's going to walk by, so if you get a little bit of a show or get a little loud, hey, we're just going to roll with it. But I'm honored to have our brother from another mother, our great friend, and one of my closest friends, Mr. Aaron Young, join us from the opposite side of the United States. From
a different ocean completely.
Exactly. Good morning, man. It's morning time there, afternoon here.
Yeah, good morning, Scott. And it's great to be here. And you're at the Atlantis, which it's a great hotel. If people have seen the ads on TV or whatever, and you always see the big Royal Tower in the ads, and they have several other towers that were all owned by Merv Griffin. Merv Griffin, super successful businessman. People don't really know that about him, but he'd put the hotels together, and then the South African guy came and put up the Royal Tower and put in all the aquariums. And I remember the first time I came there and I walked in the main lobby, and it's all open and expansive. There's that big, huge marble spinning thing or whatever on the columns. And you walk down the stairs to that big wall that's looking into the lost city of Atlantis. And I remember thinking to myself, I kid you not, I thought to myself, I didn't know that people could build something like this. It just took my breath away, blew my mind. And it's, I've been there several times and spoken. Actually, my largest audience I ever spoke to, which was, they said 5,000 people. I don't know. It was a lot of people, and they were in the dark, and I had spotlights in my face. But was at the Atlantis. That was had a lot of fun experiences there. And Nassau is a great place. There was a time in my career when I talked to Michelle and really, really contemplated moving to Nassau or to New Providence.
Nice. So, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm speaking tomorrow all day to a group of real estate investors here. I'm here for the actual Mr. Landlord retreat that he has every year with his investors. So Jeffrey Taylor is a good friend of mine, does a lot. He's out of St. Louis. It's a little bit warmer here than it is in most of the country because it's 78 degrees out here. We left Austin yesterday, it was 40 degrees, and spent all the day traveling and arrived finally at the hotel just after sundown and got settled in and got a bite to eat and came back to the room. And I haven't even made it to the beach yet. We would be doing this usually from my hotel room, but there's a loud lady on a loudspeaker at the hotel right next to us. So we're not in the main tower. We're in one of the other ones. So,
well, the point is that, well, you can, but you'll go in there and you'll go through the dig and all that. You've probably been there before, but it's really worth wandering around. I'm not trying to give a travelogue for the Atlantis. I know we're on the No Closer show. But I will say this for anybody that gets a chance to go there, whether you come in on a cruise ship and they're going to go into Nassau, or if you're staying at one of the hotels, including the Atlantis. So between Paradise Island, where the Atlantis is, and Nassau, which is right there are two bridges that cross a waterway, and one-way traffic on each one. And down below that bridge, right along that waterway, there are all these little shacks, and they can be a little intimidating if you're scared of people. A little intimidating to go down there, but you go down there and ask them to make you conch salad out of the conch, the big conch shell that people blow. Ask them to make you a conch salad, and they'll take the conch out of the shell right there and get all the onions and the limes and all this stuff, and they're mixing it up with a big machete knife, and they tie it up in a bag, and the longer you leave it in the bag, the more it's going to burn when you eat it. But it's not at all like going to get ceviche in a restaurant. When they make it up fresh right there from stuff that just came out of the water, it's a freaking awesome experience. Yep. Make sure you don't only eat in restaurants, guys. Make sure that you go see the local people and you see where the locals are hanging out. You'll have a better experience.
Oh yeah, that's totally true. I totally agree to that as well. So But anyway, let's bring it back in here, because you and I were talking about before, and you've traveled some cool places. I've traveled some cool places. It's kind of the fun thing that is a great perk of what we do. But
yeah,
one of the biggest thing is, I think, is when we go speak, you and I both have a very big heart to try to help leave a legacy for people, and literally helping make a big impact on people. And actually, that's part of what my discussion over the next couple of days here in Atlanta will be, is about, hey, leaving a legacy a little bit. And you just wrapped up your Inner Circle mastermind this last week, and we were talking about stories about people coming back and talking about how they've changed their lives. They had a 5-year plan to retire with their spouse. They're able to do it in a year and a half. Another one's raised millions of dollars and has so many deals coming to them, because the fact is that they've surrounded themselves or been a part of a great mastermind. Last time we talked was all about kind of expanding your tribe or being a part of a mastermind. And I think this ducktails up to it very nicely, because if you really do, leverage relationships or come in with an open heart to share and willing to really absorb what others are around you, you can really not only be impactful to your life, but really impact others around you. Right, Aaron?
It's absolutely true. I mean, the old expression, most men live lives of quiet desperation. They feel the stresses of life. They see all the bills. They're trying to do a good job as a parent or a spouse or a friend or a child of, aging parents or whatever, but they're quietly just struggling through life. They kind of hunker down. They have their little place. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. But the reason there's a level of desperation is because the world feels bigger than them. Like it's pressure on them. And a lot of times people can feel very alone in that situation. I think most of us, when we're going through some real big challenge, we may not want other people to know about it. We may think if I talk about it, people will think I'm dumb, or people will judge me harshly. And believe me, I went through a prosecution, right, with the federal government and went to prison. I know all about feeling concerned about judgmental impressions, for people thinking I'm a bad guy or not trustworthy. I mean, I get it. But when we hold it inside, we just struggle and feel desperate and have anxiety and stroke out young, right? I mean, but when we can combine with other people and share it, we find out there's a lot of commonality. And getting into, if you take it another, so you might get that at a club, at a church, at a where you're kind of in with a group of people and you sort of share each other's burdens. But then you can take it to a different level and work with people who are not trying to commiserate all the time, but trying to dramatically change the outcome that they're having. And that's what we get in these groups that we go and we join. Now, Scott and I both run groups like that. And then I've been a member of a number of groups like that, including, I don't know how you would characterize it, Scott, but I feel like I'm in a mastermind group that you started, that we all met in December. There was it was a complete mastermind of, it was really about business opportunity, but we all came together and shared ideas. That's what a mastermind is. It utterly shifts your perspective on the planet when you get around some other people who are doing maybe something different, but sort of on the same level as you. And you guys start talking about best practices and find out how you can work together. And pretty soon you go, wow, I can't believe what a great year I had, how much better we did in business. Why? Because we met new people, we made new friends, we created new alliances, we learned better ways of doing things. That's why we get together in these mastermind groups. But at the end of the day, I think the reason people join the mastermind is because they know that their life can be more significant and they want greater significance. They come to our company, to Laughlin, because they've been working a W-2 job and now they want to start their own business, or they want to start a side hustle beside their W-2 job. And so they want to build a company and they want to do it right. And it's interesting how often they want to use their children's initials in the name of a company or name it after one of their kids, or they want to say, how do I deal with the stock so that whatever wealth we make here can go to my family or go to something that matters to me, some cause that matters to me if they're single. And people want greater significance in their life. That's what they want. You know, you talked about, you're going to be talking about leaving a legacy. At some point, you can only have so many toys, go on so many airplane trips, stay in so many hotels, drink so many fancy bottles of alcohol or whatever your thing is. You can only, at some point you go, well, okay, that's lost its juice for me.
Right.
You know, there's got to be something more significant. And look what I've done all this stuff. Will anybody even know about me? You know, will my grandkids even have any idea of what I did? Frank Shankowitz, founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
I was just about to say
Remember?
That. Yep.
Were you going to jump in with that story?
No, go ahead. That just literally popped in my head just a second ago. Yeah.
Well, because that was his dream, right? Yeah. He founded the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now he was retired from there. And Greg Reed, our mutual friend who introduced us, asked Frank, what's your wish? You've been making other wishes come true. What's your wish? He said, I just want my grandchildren to have some idea of all this stuff that I did, all these things that happened in my life. Greg Reed took that bull by the horns and they made a movie.
Right.
They made a Hollywood movie about Frank's life, which hopefully will come out here one of these months and we'll all get to see the fruits of it. But here's a guy who'd done all these great things, but what he wanted was his grandkids to know that he'd had this diverse and interesting life. He wanted to leave a legacy.
That's the truth. I think it's, you say something, hey, if you see the bumper say, he who dies with the most toys wins. I actually disagree with it. I think he who dies with the most toys probably lived a very lonely life. Now there's, you look at, it doesn't mean there's like Richard Branson. I was talking with somebody about the other day how he owns a Hawaiian island or something like that. He's got a lot of toys, but he also leaves a very big impact on the world with what they give back at Virgin and the different charities he's a part of and things like that. And that's just the same. It's a little bit of what we do here with buying distressed debt and really try to help borrowers stay in their house. Is, well, yes, it's great, like Make-A-Wish, great big event, big organization helping thousands and thousands of kids and people every year that are terminally ill or facing illness, things like that. And I think a lot of people, you mentioned something earlier about how we all, at some point, feel the weight of the world on our shoulders when we're either in a lull. And at some point, I think it all comes down to is that we have to stop trying to dig ourselves out of a hole. Quit thinking like what we know is going to work to dig ourselves out of a hole, because a lot of times we end up digging ourselves deeper versus looking around for somebody to help pull us out of that hole, to help give us a rope ladder out, or to get a hand to help pull us out. And I think that's what's so big and very impactful about the groups that we're a part of, because we all face adversaries.
Yeah, what is this? There's a saying that says, and I'm paraphrasing, it basically says you can't use the same knowledge to get you out of a problem that got you into the problem. Mm-hmm. And so you have to become a different person, or you have to align yourself with people. But really, I think, okay, so let's just use what you and I do as an example. So you buy distressed note, right? Buy distressed debt. So the banks or whatever, hedge funds they bought a portfolio. It's not performing the way they want it to. They have their advantages for them, especially if they're publicly traded, to get it off their books. So they'll dump stuff at pennies on the dollar, or at least dimes on the dollar, to let somebody like you come and take the risk. And then you can renegotiate it. And it's all math and capitalization and rates and all that's right? But at the end of the day, you also have the human stories of the people who got to stay in their homes, the people who named their child after you. I love that story about that, because you're making an impact on their life. I had somebody, and I don't want to disclose any of the details about what it is, but somebody came up to me at the mastermind. Actually, multiple people did, but one is really sticking out. and the person is going through a real challenge. And all I'd been trying to do was just be aware of it and be mindful in how I said things in front of this person so as to not sort of rub salt in a wound.
Sure.
And this person came up to me at the end and has subsequently written to me and just said, you have no idea how important it was for me to be there, how much of an influence you have on me, how much your caring about me and my family has made a difference, and so on. I'm completely oblivious to this, right? But yet right in front of me, a few feet away, somebody's being impacted. Those people think, we're going to lose our home. Where am I going to live? Now our credit's all screwed up. We won't be able to get another place. And you come in and say, hey, let's renegotiate this deal. And all of a sudden their kids get to stay at school. You know, they get to keep their job. They don't have to be homeless. I mean, really, that's what that would happen to some people. They would be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has a great safety net of friends or family that can take them in. Right. So it's a great thing. I look at the people that we do this stuff that's kind of not very interesting when you at face value. Form a corporation, form an LLC, do minutes and resolutions and help issue stock. And we do all this sort of tactical stuff that needs to be done for someone to have a properly organized business. Most people aren't doing it, but the ones that work with us and get it done right so that they're really, truly protected. The thing that doesn't seem very sexy when you're in the middle of doing it. Doesn't sound as cool as Facebook ads and you know, make money selling on Amazon and, you know, get rich quick flipping houses. It doesn't sound as sexy as that. Here, let's do your corporate resolutions, right? However, the people that come to me and say, I got the government contract because everything was built. I got into the car accident, but I didn't lose my business. I lost my home, I lost my savings, but I couldn't take away my company. So I still can take care of my family. When I hear stories like that, you know, under terrible situations or celebratory situations, I go, oh, the work I do makes a difference for tens of thousands of people, even if I'm not hearing the stories, you know, and that's part of a legacy. Part of a legacy is owning something that's going to outlive you. You know, I'm the third owner of Laughlin Associates. We're 1971, according to the corporate record book, is when we were started. We always say 1972. I think that's when our marketing really started in earnest. The company was formed in 71. We're in 2019 now, right? That's 48 years. Hundreds of thousands of people that we've worked with. And somebody will own it after me. What am I doing to be a good steward so that people look back on my time and go, oh, that guy was a good leader of this company, you know, for his employees, for his clients, and for me as the new owner. I didn't inherit a mess.
Or you don't leave it as a mess either.
These are now the things that drive me now that I'm in my 50s is, you know, hopefully I've got another 40 years to go. Even 30 would be awesome.
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing. You're never too late or too young to start changing things, to start making an impact, and leaving a legacy. Specifically, if you're looking at what you do, because a lot of times it may not be 1,000 people. It could be just one person, like one entity at a time, one person at a time. With us, it's one borrower at a time. The way we look at it, although we buy a lot of times in bulk, but I think back, I've had students, actually borrowers. We've had several borrowers who we bought the note from. We were able to negotiate with them, help them out, who became students later on. Mm-hmm. Like I have one guy.
I can think of one guy right off the top of my head
you know the guy I'm talking about. We forgave 120 grand in debt, let him walk from a house that he bought with his best friend. You know, after about a month of negotiating back and forth. Not a bad guy, just a bad time with everything that happened in 2009, 8, 9, and 10.
Sure.
And then he reached out to me after Googling to find out who the heck was this guy that bought his mortgage, and was brave enough because it can be kind of stressful. He picked up the phone and called me on the blue. He goes, well, this guy gave his number on a video. I'm going to call it. So he called me and said, hey, I'm that guy, that we talked about 6 months ago. I'm not a bad guy. I'd like to learn more about what you're doing. I'm like, okay, great. Sure. Let's figure this out. We invite him into an event. He ended up joining our mastermind at the time. That's because things had changed for him. Him and his dad joined, and he's gone on to help a lot of people in buying not only a lot of debt, but he's also doing some development. He also started another podcast, and we're talking about my buddy Robbie Woods. It was just another great friend who we talked to.
Robbie's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Yeah. And then I can think of also the other people, other people that have gone out and done things. If I think about how many people Robbie has impacted, not only with the debt he's bought and modified, forgiven, but then also with the podcast they did for a while when they ran with the Note MBA. And then think of all the other people along the way that have impacted it. And that's what I want everybody to realize. You're really, and we've done this before on an earlier episode, you're really one connection away from really, having a major impact in your life, but also being a major impact in thousands of lives too, because you never know who you're going to talk to.
Scott, as you're saying all that, something else occurs to me. There are going to be people that pass through our lives that maybe things it's not that noisy. Don't worry about it. There are going to be people that pass through our lives that maybe we end the relationship not in the best way, but I can think of the fella that really was the catalyst for me end up going to prison. He went for longer, right?
Yep.
And he did things that I wish he hadn't done that got us all in trouble. However, and I don't want to do business with him anymore, and we're not like pen pals, right?
Yeah.
But yet I look back on how that, not the legal battle, but the times before that, how he was, because he was much older. He's more like my dad's age. And I learned a number of really good things from him. I read a bunch of great books that he recommended. I traveled around with him. I had good experiences with this guy. And even though some of those things led to a needful separation, that doesn't mean that he didn't make a real impact on my life. And I'm going to tell you, it's a corny little thing, but during that time, my wife and I were invited over to his home, him and his wife, at Christmas time. And we always thought she was the bomb. I mean, she was just a sweet, awesome, smart, kind of a traditional mom, had raised 8 kids, and was wealthy, but I remember she gave us a salad bowl. It was a wooden carved manzanita wood salad bowl. And during the worst part of my relationship with him, she contracted cancer and died.
Wow.
But every time, which is a couple times a week, when we pull the salad bowl out, I think of her, I think of Maureen, and I think of what a great person she was and what a good example she was. And there was another legacy, and it's encapsulated in this wooden bowl that is a constant reminder. It's a little thing. As a matter of fact, the day she gave us the bowl, I thought, what a weird gift. She gave us a bowl. Now it's one of the most treasured things in our kitchen or in our house, because there's a lot of meaning caught up in it, right? And what was the example she left for us? What was her disposition through challenging times? How did she do things even going into death elegantly? She's a great example. And once we've, it's hard to feed the world from an empty cup, right? This thing's empty now. If I'm trying to say, here, share the last little drop inside the cup, people are not going to get very satiated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I go out there and do my work and do a great job and fill the cup and it's overflowing, you can feed everybody from that spring, from that wellspring. We can leave a legacy. The best way to leave a legacy is by going out and being as successful as we can at whatever it is we want to be. It can be money success. It can be being a great little league coach. I don't care, but be the best you can be. And out of that abundance, you can then, because people listen, if you're a loser coach, people don't listen to you very much.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're really wildly successful, if you're Bear Bryant or something, right? People, Belichick, whatever, people remember, because you're a winner, they will listen to you more. It doesn't matter if you give the same advice. If you have no evidence to show in your life that you've actually experienced the success that you're trying to teach about, people will discount it. But if you've had personal success, and then what they say in what they say in Fiddler on the Roof, when you're rich, they think you really know. It's people will listen to people who are successful. Uh-huh. And if you're successful and actually have something good to say, you can let that message reverberate way out. Is that the right word? Am I saying it right? It'll echo out there.
It'll ripple out across.
It'll ripple. It'll stone. It's reverberate.
Well, but that's also that's really kind of the main theme also too. I was just asked recently to give do a video on the impact of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon's Think and Grow Rich, and I asked if I could do it on Outwitting the Devil, and that is one of my favorite books of all times. And you've got it behind you. I see it over there. Yep, exactly. It's one of my favorite.
Guys, everybody should read this book.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because the main concept of Outwitting the Devil is Napoleon Hill's have a conversation with the devil, asking what makes the devil successful. And in the book, he talks about, well, the devil, I'm successful because I give all these distractions to people. I keep throwing, squirrels in front of them, distractions, things like that. Yeah, exactly, squirrels. Versus those people that are the most successful, the ones that are the most focused, they go, as you said, fill their cup up and then fill the world up with goodness. And that's what makes the most impact out there. And so that you're going to say something there. Go ahead.
No, I'm loving what you're saying. There's let me read something to you. You don't see that I just pulled up something on my screen, right? That's not affecting our.
Nope, you're good. Yep, nope.
Okay. A buddy of mine wrote. This is a guy who understands legacy. He's a brilliant guy. He's a nuclear. He got his master's or PhD in nuclear fuel. He's a nuclear fuels engineer. Worked at NASA, built a big real estate empire, then became the top check cashing business in Florida. They had operations all over the place. Now he owns a company with software he developed that works with Fortune 5 big companies with doing data transfer from one platform to another. He's a really smart guy. He texted me one day and he said, this just came to me and I just wanted to share it with you. He and I send these little thoughts back and forth. And I loved what he said so much. I said, do you mind if I quote you? Because this is brilliant. And he's like, yeah, if you want. Here's what he said. You talked about being distracted, all the squirrels. Success is forged in the fire of unwavering focus. Recognize that failure, most foul, is not the lightning in the storm, but the raindrops of distraction seeking to fritter away your attention and time. Isn't that great?
It's so good. And you got to throw that up as an infographic, man. It's got to be.
It's so good. Hugh Stewart, I'll give credit. Hugh Stewart, brilliant guy, dear friend, one of the most interesting people I've ever met. And his thoughts come out in these little elegant and eloquent statements. I always love it when I get a chance to visit with him because I'm a better person when I hang up the phone. And you're so right, though, Scott. It's people just fritter away. And then they look back and go, why did I waste my time?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the truth. We all look back and you can't take any of the toys with you when you pass on. You got to, I think the one thing that we all want to do is be remembered, by how we help the world in one form or fashion, whether it's helping people with their corporate documents and making sure everything's safe for them, or they've got their corporate bill protection, or you're buying a note and helping to create a win-win-win, a win for the banks, a win for us, but all more importantly, I think a big win for our borrowers that we work with.
For the borrowers, yeah. You know, I'll give you a great example of that, of what you just talked about. So again, we form corporations, we do corporate compliance, do it for you. It's tremendous services. Our clients love it. We have a high renewal rate. It's a great price. We do a great job. We've been doing it for, sneaking up on 50 years. In the course of doing that business, I've heard a lot of interesting ideas about how people want to leave their wealth behind, right? That legacy, that letting my children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren know that I existed and I cared about them. I cared about them enough to do something. And I've seen a lot of really cool things, but my favorite one was there was not mega wealth, but a successful company. They sold it. They were able to leave several $1 million behind. And so not mega rich, but not the ones that are drifting, right? And outwitting the devil. So what they did is, instead of distributing the wealth out to their family, what they did was they put it all into a trust, and the trust had one job. The trust's responsibility was to put on a great family reunion every other year. And so as the corpus, the money that was in trust sat in investments and grew, and then the profits that came off the corpus, the newfound money, was able to do it. So first they were doing kind of modest things when this first started. Going to a campground, paying for the campsites, buying the hot dogs and the hamburgers and whatever, badminton set. When I found out about it, when I was working with this, I can't remember if it was a child or grandchild of this wealthy individual, they said, "Oh my gosh, you can't believe what they do now. They fly everybody into some great location." They said, "We've had carnival rides set up. We've been on safaris in Africa, and it pays for every expense for every member of the family." Right? Mm-hmm. So here's the deal. Grandma and grandpa said, "Hey, we know that all these cousins, as they grow up and they start having their families, they might lose touch with each other, or maybe siblings are squabbling with each other or whatever. But guess what? If you want to come on the vacation, you're all going to be there together. Mm-hmm. You're all going to be there together. And if you're going to have fun and it's going to work out, you're going to see each other and resolve your differences and be there, because you're not just going to walk away with your $50,000 inheritance. You're going to have family stuff. Maybe for some of those people, it's the only vacation they get. Maybe they don't have any real money, but when they come here, they go, boy, how cool was it that grandma and grandpa thought about this? I think that is so freaking cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so awesome to think about that.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to leave a legacy. Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about, if you had a successful garden patch, or you helped make a child laugh, or you whatever, then you lived, you mattered, and you left a legacy, right? The thing is, are we being intentional about what we're doing, or are we just skating through life, drifting through life as the devil wants us to, right? According to the book. Are we drifters, or are we awake and intentional? Drifters probably will leave little or no legacy. And that's almost everybody. That's almost everybody walking around. They're going to die, and pretty soon it won't really matter. What does the Macklemore song say? They say you die twice. Once when they bury you in the grave, and the next time is the last time somebody mentions your name. Mm-hmm. And
it's kind of like that's the theme of the movie Coco too.
Oh, yes, it is. Let's go to Disney. I know how you love Disney. Well, let's go to Disney. Talk about what they call it, the ofrenda, the table with all the pictures up. Yeah. Ofrenda. And, yeah. You know what? I always thought the Day of the Dead was a stupid celebration, I thought it had been prostituted into a stupid thing. And then I saw that movie with my grandkids, sat there and bawled like a baby, and thought, oh, that makes sense. Let's not forget the people that came before us. It's great. No, that's another way of leaving a legacy. It's really true.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to do with this episode, I think if you're out there, if you're watching this live on Facebook,
that's what you did to me, Scott.
There you go, buddy. There we go. I'm the Roy Firestone.
Give me a hug, would you? Give me a hug.
You're not gonna make me cry. I think that's a good thing. I think if you're watching, I want to shout out to people right now. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, any other podcast platforms, and you want, think about this for a second. Who do you come on a daily basis? Who do you talk to? You know, because sometimes it's just talking to people, just saying, hey, how's their day going? Talking to the person next to you in the plane, talking to the person in line. Is there anything I can help you? You know, how are you doing? Just simple things make a big difference. Like when we checked in here yesterday, the lady was helping us out. We had to wait about an extra 45 minutes for our room to be available. I was like, okay. You know, I slipped her $20 when she walked over to the bar to get us. We were sitting there. She said, oh, you don't. I was like, no, it's fine. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. This means so much. And while it didn't mean much to me, I mean, I was excited to get my room after a day of flying. But I walked out this morning. She's like, oh, hi, how's it going, Mr. Carson? I'm like, okay, great. And I'm looking for a quiet place. She's like, well, go over here. Things like that leave an impact because now she's smiling. Now she's probably in a better mood. You know, that's the thing you have to realize. We come across so many people in our day in, day out. And just smiling and saying hello often is the first way to leave a legacy. First way to really help brighten somebody's days, because we're all going through crappy things. We're all going through different emotions like that. And so think about it. If you're thinking about that, what's one way that you can help impact people in your day, whether it's your borrowers or your vendors or the people that you're working with or your clients? What's one day or one way that you leave an impact today with people? And if you're think of something, I'd love it if you guys would share this on Facebook in the comments if you're watching that, or go to, drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com and leave it, or go to iTunes and leave a comment there, or if you're watching on Stitcher, leave a comment on this episode. It's one way you're looking to leave a legacy and make an impact in 2019. And we would love to share that. If there's any way we can help out, that's what we're here for. And Aaron mentioned something earlier on about this mastermind I put together. And I just brought in, there's just 10 of us, basically.
Yeah,
14 of us.
Yeah, not that many.
No, in the second weekend of December, and we spent a day and a half just going through things and each other's businesses and I brought everybody in, not to basically say, hey, we've got a lot of expertise in our marketing. How can we help leverage our relationships and our expertise with everybody out there to help you guys grow, to help other people grow, Jason Bible and Robert Ruffino grow, to help the Hazards grow, to help the Whites grow, to help Merrill Chandler grow, and George Antone. And it was great seeing everybody come together with that same mentality. And it's really already blossomed already for the year. And we're doing some great things like that.
Well, one of the things, Scott, that I love about what you're doing, I mean, I know this is on your show and I'm really not pandering here. Okay. I'm just telling you, you always are willing to, you always think bigger than just yourself. You're always thinking about how to include people, how to, what to support, how to, I don't know, you've got a very giving spirit. And it's the thing that made me immediately like you, is just watching you be up in front of a room, being kind of silly the first time I met you. I mean, it was pretty dramatically silly with the coconuts and the blue skirt,
the angel wings.
And then there was also the little fairy costume or whatever it was. Yeah.
I just became the angel investor for the weekend at that event.
There you go.
And anyway, Sharon Lecter was the first one to come get a photo with me, which is kind of funny. Anyway, moving on.
Who was?
Sharon Lecter, the co-author of.
Sharon Lecter said, "I want a picture."
She's like, "I can get a photo."
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, whose name is right there. She was the one handed Outwitting the Devil by the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad and 3 Feet from Gold and a bunch of stuff. Sharon Lecter wanted to be, because you're going to attract your energy, you're not being embarrassed of, just getting out there and having fun, being a leader, being comfortable in your own skin, teaching great content. People are going to be drawn to that. And if we're going to leave a legacy, it's always going to be based on, people care about how you can help them, right? They might celebrate what you did for somebody else for a while, but really the people want to be in some way impacted personally. And that may be from something as simple as reading something that you wrote, or listening to a quote that you gave, or you know, Steve Jobs' one commencement speech that he ever gave. You know, how often is that quoted? Just by putting yourself out there where somebody else can benefit from your experience is part of a legacy. You never have to meet them. You never have to exchange money. You'll never know. I was speaking at a thing. I don't remember where it was now, but I was somewhere, which, you know, you and I are both somewhere all the time. And a man walked up to me and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for the Facebook Lives you do with your wife." And Michelle and I at the time had been doing Facebook Lives for, I don't know, for about a year. We did them every Monday. And usually in the Facebook Live little thing, it would say 3 people are on, or 8 people are on, or 1 person's on, 0 people are on, right? People come in and out of those things. We'd end up with hundreds of views, but, you know, they're kind of in and out. And I actually said to Michelle on multiple occasions, "Is anybody even watching this? Does this even matter?" Well, this guy comes up to me, sharp guy, happily married, but he said, "My wife and I love watching those things." Another lady came up to me that I didn't know and said, "When 1 o'clock on Mondays comes around, I tell people I have a meeting and I close my door of my office and I watch you and your wife." What? You mentioned Tracy Hazard was at our little group, right? The way I met her was she walked up to me as I finished a presentation at a big conference. She walked up to me and she said, "All week long, I've been listening to you and listening to your voice and going, I know him. Where do I know him from? Where do I know him from?" She knew me from my podcast. She'd never met me, but she said, "I've listened to all your episodes. I listened to them all the way over here on our drive." You know, that we can be touching people that we may never meet, and in a way that will help them in some little way at some moment in their life. But the only way you do it is by showing up and doing the podcast, do the Facebook Live, do the Note Closer show. The only way it's going to happen is by doing something where you're not hiding out from the world, but you're saying, "I have something I can teach. I'm going to teach it. I have something I can do to help. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go out and swing a hammer for Habitat for Humanity or whatever. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go, hey, you know, I'm going to go help these cats like Stephanie does." So maybe some people don't think that's that meaningful, but for some people, it's incredibly meaningful.
Yeah, totally is. She almost tried to rescue a cat here last night, actually, too.
Is that right?
Yes.
Angel of Mercy for the feline kingdom.
We're literally walking through some of the restaurants, or the restaurant row here outside, and this orange tabby she sees out of nowhere, like cat radar, cat dar. She runs over there, and the cat's all petting her, and yeah, not skinny at all. Cat is well fed, but anyway, it's kind of funny. I'm sure she'll be back in there.
Well, on a tropical island, there's lots of rodents, there's lots of people, there's lots of trash. So cat's like, don't take me back and stick me in your house, man. I've got the whole freaking island.
Exactly. I gotta wake up.
I mean, I live that long, but I live well.
That's right. Well, that's a good way, a good analogy, though. And we kind of get into the end of the episode here.
Okay.
It's okay. It's good
I'll
stuff.
get a little more serious. I know I get a little goofy with you.
Here, that's all right. We get good, but that's okay. It's okay to get goofy. I think that sometimes is the impact. I think a lot of people are so worried to be themselves, they're living their own skin, to laugh, to make fun of themselves, and realize, hey, it's okay to cut up. It's okay. You don't have to be serious 100% of the time, because you end up missing out on maybe when you're serious and saying something, it leaves a message to people like this. Oh, okay, it's okay to laugh. We always don't have to be too serious. There are
or to cry. You got me do both of them on this episode.
I know. There we go. I got you to laugh, to cry, and to be serious. We're awesome. Triple decker. But what was I going to say? Shoot.
Well, people are afraid sometimes of doing it wrong or embarrassing themselves. and they never let their message come out. They never are that flower that blossoms and lets everybody enjoy it, because they're afraid that they'll do it wrong or they'll embarrass themselves. Or the saddest one of all is they believe they don't have anything to say. And folks, it's not true. It's everybody has a message. You don't have to be doing a podcast or a video, cast like Scott does. You don't have to hold masterminds. You don't have to put on events. You don't have to be a world-class speaker. You can just share the things you've learned along the way. It will make an impact on somebody else. But when you keep it to yourself out of fear or embarrassment or insecurity, the whole world's going to suffer a little bit.
That's so true. So everybody, I think it's a good transition period here is don't be afraid to open your mouth. Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to leave an impact one person at a time today. Go out, do something impactful and make it a daily habit. It can be something simple, but you never know how that impact's going to ripple across, or as Aaron's word, reverberate across the cosmos. And so I think that's a great place to kind of wrap up this episode. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, Scott, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna add one last thing. Sure. You just said that so beautifully, but I want to say something else. There's something about to leave a legacy takes consistency. And I've been, when we first started talking, you said, is it too noisy? Is there too much activity in the back? Folks, be willing to do something that may seem imperfect in the moment, because the consistency, notwithstanding whatever, because there's lots of reasons to have excuses to not do something. Scott is a great example of not making excuses, but to just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And it's why people follow him, because he's a guy that it's a great example. It's a legacy he's leaving of, I'm just going to keep teaching. I'm going to do what I've promised. I'm going to show up like I said I would, no matter the circumstance, because there's people that are going to be looking for it. I love that about you, Scott. I've seen you do things in a lot of different circumstances, and I admire it. Guys, get your ducks in order, right? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go out and do it, even if it seems like it might not be perfect.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. As always, man, thank you so much for being such a big supporter here. Everybody, you're an entrepreneur, you do not have your ducks in a row, go on over to laughlinusa.com. Check it out. They've got an amazing program to help you get your ducks in a row so you can leave that long-term legacy. Check out corpveilprotection.com. That's CORP Veil protection.com, or laughlinusa.com. Aaron, as always, thank you, bud. Give our best to Michelle and the whole family. And Steph just texted me, say hi to Aaron for me. And she's going to go out.
Give Steph a big hug for me, and good luck with your presentation there tomorrow, and enjoy Atlantis. And folks, if you've never been there, try to find a way over there. It's really a fascinating destination. It's a great place. Anyway, brother, take care. Have a great weekend.
You too, bud. Thanks, man. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the No Closer Show. We will be working to have another episode or two while we're here in the Bahamas, in nice, sunny, warm Bahamas for the next couple of days. So stay tuned for future episodes. But once again, thanks again for tuning in, and go out and make an impact. And everybody, we'll see you all at the top. Bye.